there was a case, the California State Board of Education in 2015 wanted to initiated a regular review of the school curriculum, and they wanted to make sure that, the word Dalit is erased. The Hindu American Foundation wanted the word Dalit to be erased from the syllabus. And this was contested by several South Asian historians and interfaith multiracial anti-caste coalitions. And can you tell me a little bit more about why that was important? I completely get why, but for our listeners and for our viewers, why is it so important to have the word here? Why is it the entire recording of history so important? Just like for the Black community, for the Hispanic community, their histories are important. Why do you think this should be in the curriculum? You want to take this, Yashika?
Yeah, I can go first on this. So, one of the main issues, we compare a lot of, the oppression and racial oppression and discrimination that Black folks have undergone with the struggle of Dalit people. And while they're obviously structurally similar, and we have so much to, in common, we have so much to learn from each other, but at the same time, they're very different in specific ways. The racial discrimination is visible. You can discriminate somebody from the color of their skin. At the same time, you can also see that somebody is being discriminated from the color of their skin. When it comes to caste, discrimination is invisible. There are all these codes and secret code words like, what Anil said, patting somebody on the back to check whether they're wearing the sacred upper caste Brahmin thread. To an onlooker who is non-South Asian, it will look like a regular pat on the back. To a South Asian person, to an Indian person, to a Dalit person, they know exactly what is going on. How are people going to be educated about these dangerous discriminations that exist within us if they don't even know what the word Dalit means? Which is why it's so important for us to be educated about these issues. And I'm going to go a step further and say that this idea that we think caste exists in the past is a very deliberate effort that has been ongoing since India's independence. This narrative that caste is irrelevant, that caste is an internal issue, is something uniquely South Asian. For example, when there is an issue of domestic violence in someone's house, what do the neighbors say? Oh, don't talk about it. That's an internal issue. Very similarly, in South Asia and India, talking about caste is considered an internal issue. We don't want to, quote unquote, wash our dirty linen in public. But what is that doing to Dalit people? It is going to continue our discrimination. It is going to continue harassment, assault, violence, all kinds of violence against us. And we have no recourse because nobody even understands what caste means. So when they are talking about removing the word Dalit, anybody is talking about removing the word Dalit, not just one particular organization, what they're trying to do is very thought out, very deliberate. This is not an accident. This is a very calculated move to make sure that nobody understands what caste is, and the power structures can keep going the way they have gone, so that upper caste dominance can keep is maintained the same way it has been maintained for over thousands of years. It looks different, but there are very few people who have the power. Yeah, it's the same.
But that's true of the entire the logic of hiding it on one end and practicing it on the other end. In May of this year, the FBI raided Akshardham in Robbinsville Township, New Jersey, to investigate forced labor of lower caste workers, and the workers were brought on religious visas, and FBI removed about 90 workers from the site. Now, that is, again, on one hand, you're saying, let's not put it in our books, let's not even talk about it, but on the other hand, you're doing this openly and creating unlawful precedents in terms of discrimination. Anil, tell us more about this.
So, yeah, I will come to Akshardham in a moment. See, denialism is the first attack. You simply deny it doesn't exist. That is what they are trying to do. Oh, in India it exists, here it doesn't exist. Whereas I can talk about Brahminical clubs being formed in the organization like Microsoft. I was talking to Tech Workers Union some time ago, And one American woman said, "Oh, all my colleagues are Brahmins." And then the other colleague asked her, "How do you know? Because the caste is supposed to be secret, not supposed to be talked openly." And she says, "No, no, no. They are so proud of it. Oh, I am a Brahmin. I don't eat meat." And so this is the ghetto. If you look at the way HR practices are and the employee referrals are very, that's one of the major ways the recruitment happens. If you have only Brahmins being the first movers advantages that they have had over for centuries, then the Brahmins refers to another Brahmins. That's how the Indian structures are. So that's another problem wherein the opportunities are being denied to people. So if you do not know history, you are condemned to repeat it. It is important to document it. It is important that the kids know about it. They are conscious during their formative years. They understand the problem. A majority of the problem will be solved if Hindus accept that there is a problem.
Yeah,
Once
so
you accept, only you can take the corrective measures and do whatever we need to do. Hindutva is a kind of political project and things like that. What we are more interested in the social reformation of Hinduism. Of course, Dr. Ambedkar, who is on my background, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who is the chief architect of Indian Constitution, from the deprived section, did a amazing work, ensured the affirmative action for the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and OBCs. These are the people that we need to remember, and unless we remember, we will not be able to take corrective actions. Dr. Ambedkar tried to reform Hinduism. He brought a lot of bills in the after the independence of India. He was the first law minister, but those bills weren't passed. Ultimately, he decided to leave Hinduism and embrace Buddhism because he wanted to get rid of caste.
So my question to you over here is that, again, coming back to Akshardham, which I really want to talk about, a lot of that happened because it was allowed to happen. The entire American system is based on class politics, and we all know it. It's color of skin based. It's where you're from based. It's country of origin based. And Indians are a substantial part of a really, important part of this entire ecosystem, and that Indians are subdivided like this. Now, when that is happening, and a certain strata of the Indian society, a certain strata of the Indian community is being ill-treated, and then cases like this happen, how are we hiding behind the wheel of everything's fine? We can't when we're openly breaking law, because discriminatory practices anywhere will be hit upon. You cannot just walk away from this. This is not a situation. This is not a country where you can walk away from it, especially when we have a very woke generation in front of us who actually were out in the streets most of last year and this year for Black Lives Matters. How is this going to become a non-issue? It beats me. So coming back to Akshardham, what exactly happened there, Anil?
So in India, it is not, many times people try to justify that the caste is based on the division of labor, that certain people will do only certain things. But as Dr. Ambedkar said, it's not division of labor, it is division of laborer. So there are certain set of people, certain caste will only do this, and those are the lower caste people who undertake this menial task of carving the temple, making the temple, carving the god and all that. Once they do that, once the temple comes into existence, they are even denied entries. If these were the powerful people, if they were treated equally, do you think they will not be given those minimum wages? But because of the exploitative nature of the caste allows, these people were brought in because they have certain expertise. They are the manual labor who have certain expertise in building these temples. And I presume while Akshardham in New Jersey is where it got caught, I'm sure this model is replicated everywhere. FBI and others should actually investigate how all the other temples which have been in existence, such as lavish temples, how they have been built, where the labor has come from. So this is a clearly exploitative way. People have tried to justify saying that we are paying them Indian wages. Are you making a joke, mockery of the entire American judicial system? So this is the Akshardham, about 150 people. They are now protected. They have been given extension of visa. They are of course struggling through the system, and there is a help pouring in from various sections of the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe community to help them settle, find them the jobs, either by the construction working or the taxi driving and so on. But these are the illiterate people to a large extent, and settlement is going to be a lot tougher. Integration into the society is going to be a lot tougher for them.